For what we can tell, they grew up farmers. They grew up an hour and a half away from each other and their lives didn't cross until they got to North Korea.
Mm-hmm. Like a lot of other guys over there. Mm-hmm.
Did you know your grandpa, Justin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Didn't know this part of his life in this story. Like I said earlier, Grandma would say comments like, he served on an ambulance. He was in Korea. He drove the parallel line. But he never wanted to talk about it. She didn't know a lot of the details.
What's a parallel line?
It was the line between North and South Korea.
The 38th parallel.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
right. Did Rudy talk a lot about his service, Helen?
He did. He told me a lot about, how when he was a medic, how they would bring the guys over and they would load them up on the airplane to take them back, I assume, to the States. Guys that were injured over there, he mentioned one guy that had parachuted out of a plane and his chute did not open. And Rudy always said he always wondered how that guy ever came out because he was injured pretty bad. But he carried a lot of litter patients. It was, guys that were injured over there.
How do you think it affected him? And
How it affected him?
Yeah.
I think he probably, excuse me, he saw a lot, anybody over there would. He probably would never forget what he saw. He didn't talk a lot about it, but he did say enough that it was pretty rough things to see. He was glad to serve, he was happy to serve, but he was also very happy to be back home again.
And I said, well, I've been scanning a bunch of photos. I said, would you like to look at my computer and see all the photos that I've scanned that my grandpa took? She goes, absolutely. So she slides over. We're going through them one by one. We're telling stories. We're looking at the book to confirm things. And all of a sudden she goes, stop. She goes, there's Rudy. And here was a photo of a guy with an A-frame on the back. And I said, oh, that's Rudy. And I said, sure enough, I would scan the front of the photo. I would also scan the back so I could see what Grandpa had wrote. And here Grandpa wrote, Rudy with his A-frame. Now, during this conversation, we kept telling each other, like, let's not get our hopes too high. We don't know if they were actually friends. And I noticed that he wrote, ha-ha. And the fact that he knew Rudy's nickname and he wrote ha-ha, I thought, well, that's kind of interesting.
Did he write Breezy on the photo?
No, he didn't write Breezy, but now that makes me wonder if he had photos that said Breezy on it. I'm going to have to go look at that.
He may have.
Yeah.
We'll have to check that out.
So then it was right before I had to get going. I said, well, we're almost done. And we start flipping through them. And Helen again goes, stop. She goes, there's Rudy. And I said, well, there's Henry. And sure enough, here they are sitting on a medical or a military ambulance truck, sitting beside each other, and it just looks as if two buddies were out like working on a truck, and somebody said, "Hey guys, stop and smile," and looking all tough, looking like they're too cool for school.
Yep. I think he told me that sometimes when he wasn't busy, he would ride in the ambulance with Henry, and that's kind of probably how they got to know each other.